I stood frozen in my own doorway, suitcase still in hand, as my daughter's voice cut through the silence like a knife.
Get out.
Mom. My keys slipped from my fingers and hit the hardwood floor, the same floor I'd refinished myself a decade ago. I looked at her, confused, certain I'd misheard. Diane, what are you talking about? This is my house. Not anymore, she said, crossing her arms. Behind her, Marcus sat on my couch, papers spread across my coffee table. We had a family meeting. We've made some decisions about your living situation. I felt my heart pounding. My living situation? Trevor stepped out of the kitchen with my mug in his hand. We needed to talk without you getting emotional, Mom. I turned to my youngest, desperate. Lisa. She wouldn't meet my eyes. We found a nice assisted living facility. It'll be good for you. I'm 72, not 92. Marcus sighed. It's done, Mom. The house is sold. Your share will cover your care. Then Diane unfolded a document, and I saw my own signature at the bottom. Remember those papers Marcus brought last month? You signed over power of attorney. We only did what's best for you. My knees went weak. My own children had tricked me, stolen everything I built. That's when I smiled, because they had no idea what I'd done 3 weeks ago. Let me take you back. Back to where this really started. Not today, not when they changed my locks, but 8 years ago. 8 years of slow death. 8 years of watching my children forget I existed. It started with Marcus's wedding. I'd spent 6 months helping plan it, contributing $12,000 from my retirement savings because he said it would mean the world to him. I wore a discount dress I'd altered myself and sat at table 7, not the head table. They said there wasn't room. During the speeches, Marcus thanked everyone. The wedding planner, his boss, his college roommate. He talked for 8 minutes and never mentioned me once. Not once. I sat there feeling something crack inside my chest. A tiny fracture I didn't understand yet. After that, the calls went from weekly to monthly to nothing. When I'd call Marcus, I could hear the impatience in his voice, the multitasking, the excuses to hang up. But I told myself it was normal. Children leave. That's the point of raising them, right? Then Diane got her promotion in Boston. My only daughter, the one I'd stayed up with through every crisis. She changed. Started speaking in corporate jargon, treating our conversations like transactions. I visited her once, saved for months to afford the trip. She forgot to take time off work. I spent 3 days wandering Boston alone while she worked 16-hour days. On my last night there, she took me to dinner and spent the entire meal on her phone. When the check came, she sighed like it was this massive inconvenience, even though she was making 6 figures and I was living on Social Security. Trevor was my sensitive one, the middle child who wrote poetry, but his startup culture consumed him. I became irrelevant to his world. An embarrassment, maybe. He started canceling visits, screening my calls, treating me like an obligation he could reschedule at will. And Lisa, my baby, married Derek, a man who never liked me. He slowly poisoned our relationship with comments about boundaries and independence. Lisa chose him. Every single time. One by one, I lost them all. The birthdays destroyed me. Every year, I'd wake up with hope. Maybe this year they'd remember, without Facebook reminding them. Maybe they'd actually call. But they never did. My 66th birthday, nothing. My 67th, a group text at 11:47 p.m. My 70th, the big milestone. Trevor sent a $100 Amazon gift card with no message. My 71st, I baked myself a cake, took myself to dinner, posted photos pretending to be happy. That night, sitting alone with the remains of my birthday cake, I cried harder than I'd cried since my divorce. Because I finally understood. I had become invisible to the people I'd given my entire life to. Then came my 72nd birthday, the day everything changed. I woke up alone. Checked my phone, nothing. I sat at my kitchen table for 3 hours, staring at walls covered in photos of smiling children who didn't exist anymore, replaced by selfish strangers. That's when I saw the letter. From my ex-husband David's lawyer, sitting on my desk for weeks. I'd been avoiding it. I opened it that night. David had terminal cancer. 6 months of diagnosis, treatment, fighting. The letter was informing me to prepare our children for the inevitable. 6 months. He'd been dying for 6 months. Not one of my children had bothered to tell me. That's when something inside me died. And something else, something cold and calculating, was born. David died 3 weeks later. Heart attack on the golf course, sudden despite the cancer. I found out from his brother Richard, not my children. I showed up to the funeral planning meeting unannounced. Walked in wearing my best dress and watched their faces drop. "Mom," Marcus said, standing quickly like I'd caught him stealing. "We didn't think you'd want to be involved." But they couldn't kick me out. Not in front of the funeral director. So I sat there and watched them make every decision without consulting me. Watched them speak over me. Watched them treat their father's death like a business transaction. And I saw something that made my skin crawl. They were excited. Not about his death. They pretended sadness. But about what came after. I saw it in their glances when the funeral director mentioned the estate. In Marcus's careful questions about probate timelines. In Diane's research on inheritance tax laws. They were waiting for their payday. At the reception, I overheard Marcus and Trevor in the hallway. "The lawyer said Dad's assets are around $2 million, Marcus was saying. "Split 4 ways, that's $500K each." "What about Mom?" Trevor asked. "What about her?" Marcus's voice was ice. "She got everything in the divorce. She's fine."
Fine.
I was living on $1,700 a month, but I was fine. "She's getting old, though," Trevor continued. "Have you seen the house? She's letting it fall apart. It's worth over $1 million now, and she's just sitting on it." Silence. "We need to have a conversation about that," Marcus said. "About what happens to that house when, when I die." "Or before," Trevor said. "If she's becoming unable to manage her finances, there are options." That conversation weaponized me. Because I realized they weren't just neglectful children. They were predators. And I was prey. The reading of David's will was 2 weeks later. His third wife, Amber, got everything, the house, investments, the whole $2 million. David had changed his will 18 months earlier. My children got $50,000 each. A token. A slap in the face. I watched them crumble. Diane sobbed, ugly, angry tears of someone who'd lost money they'd been counting on. Trevor looked physically ill. Marcus actually challenged the will, claiming incompetence. And me? I felt nothing. Just cold certainty that their next target would be me. I was right. 3 days later, Marcus showed up with coffee and croissants, apologizing for his absence. He wanted to make amends. And when he mentioned my house, how big it was, how hard to maintain, I smiled and said I'd think about it. Over the next month, they all came. Diane brought brochures for senior communities. Trevor talked about the financial burden of home maintenance. Lisa and Derek toured my house, commenting on updates, original features, market value. They thought they were being subtle, but I saw everything. And I started recording everything. I bought a digital recorder that looked like a pen, kept it in my pocket during every visit. I documented their schemes, their lies, their casual cruelty. I heard Marcus tell his wife I had dementia because I'd repeated a story. I'd repeated it because he wasn't listening, too busy on his phone. I heard Diane tell Trevor I'd burned something on the stove, that I was a danger to myself.
Ide burnat tuast. Once.
I heard Derek say I was a financial liability, that they needed to accelerate the timeline before I did something stupid. The timeline. For taking my house. They were building a case of incompetence. Creating a narrative that would justify whatever they were planning. And I let them. Because I was building my own case. And mine had evidence. Then Marcus brought the papers. He showed up on a Tuesday, nervous. "Mom, I need you to sign some documents. For refinancing the house. You could save thousands." I didn't have a mortgage. I'd paid it off 12 years ago. But I played dumb. Put on my reading glasses, squinted at the dense legal language. "I don't understand all this," I said softly. "It's just standard stuff, Mom. You sign here, here, and here. I'll handle everything else." I looked at my son. at his face that looked like his father's, at the expensive suit and practiced smile, at the man who'd once been a boy who couldn't sleep without me reading him 3 stories. And I signed the papers. I watched his relief, his triumph. He gathered them quickly and kissed my forehead, the first affection he'd shown in years. After he left, I looked at my copies, the ones I'd photographed with my phone while he was in the bathroom. Power of attorney documents, giving them control over my finances, my property, my entire life. But they'd made one critical mistake. They'd assumed I was as stupid as they needed me to be. I'd read every word while Marcus was distracted. I'd sign them knowing exactly what they were, because I needed them to believe they'd won. I needed them to show me who they really were. 2 weeks later, a real estate agent called about a home evaluation. Marcus had contacted her, saying we were considering selling. I called Marcus immediately. "Oh, Mom, I was going to talk to you," he said. "This house is too much for you. We found an amazing assisted living facility." "I don't need assisted living." "Mom, be reasonable. You're 72. We're trying to help. By selling my house without permission?" Silence. Then, "We have power of attorney, Mom. We're legally allowed to make these decisions. And we've all agreed this is what's best." We've all agreed. Not one asked what I thought. That's when I made the call. The one that would destroy everything. I called Richard, David's brother, the estate planning lawyer who'd told me at the funeral to reach out if I needed anything. I told him everything, played him the recordings, showed him my medical records proving perfect cognitive function, my financial records showing careful management. "They're trying to steal from you," Richard said, voice tight with anger. "Your own children." "I know," I whispered. "What can I do?" He told me, and I did it. I revoked the power of attorney. Immediately, legally, irrevocably. Filed documents with the court declaring I'd been coerced, that I was of sound mind. Then I changed my will. Everything, house, savings, life insurance, went to a trust for charities. My children would get nothing. Then I did something else. Something they'd never see coming. I sold the house that I sold it to a young couple with 3 kids for exactly half its market value. $600,000 instead of $1.2 million. They were so grateful they cried. Real tears. Half the money went to charity. The other half went into an irrevocable trust paying for my care at an independent living facility I chose. When I die, whatever's left goes to scholarship funds. The sale closed 2 weeks ago. The new owners took possession yesterday. And that brings us back to today. To me standing outside my former home, watching my children's faces as I told them what I'd done. "You're lying," Trevor whispered when I explained. "Check the county records. The deed transferred 2 weeks ago. The house you're standing in? It belongs to the Martinez family now. They move in tomorrow morning." I watched the color drain from their faces. "You sold it for $600,000? Marcus looked like he might vomit. "That house is worth $1.2 million. You lost." "I lost you nothing because it was never yours. But yes, I gave away $600,000 specifically to make sure you couldn't have it." "You spiteful, selfish." Marcus lunged forward. Trevor grabbed him. "Selfish." I laughed, broken. "I gave you everything. Every sacrifice was for you. And you repaid me with abandonment and greed. We were going to take care of you." Lisa cried. "You were going to take my home and divide the money. I have recordings of Derek discussing the timeline for my death. All of you have been waiting for me to die so you could cash in." "What did you expect?" Diane shouted. "You raised us to be independent, to pursue success. Then you act shocked when we don't drop everything to babysit you." "I never asked you to babysit me. I asked you to love me, to remember my birthday, to call occasionally. But that was too much, wasn't it?" Silence filled with truth nobody wanted to acknowledge. "The locks you changed? Illegal." I continued. "The power of attorney? Revoked and documented. The competency hearing you arranged? Fraudulent. I have medical records from 2 independent doctors. So here's what happens. You leave now before the police arrive." Yes, I called them. Tomorrow, you watch a young family move into the home you thought you'd stolen. Red and blue lights flashed through the windows. Officers, I called as they approached. These people illegally changed my locks and are refusing to leave. Chaos followed, my children shouting, showing papers, claiming authority. But I had better papers. Proof of ownership, recent sale documents, medical evaluations, the recordings. The police escorted them out one by one. Marcus turned at the door, face twisted with rage. You've destroyed this family.
No, Marcus. You did.
8 years ago, when you decided I wasn't worth your time unless I had something you wanted. When you forgot my birthdays, skipped holidays, screened my calls. When you looked at your mother and saw nothing but a future inheritance. He left without another word. I stood there in the doorway of my former home, watching them drive away. For strangers who used to be my children, who'd spent 8 years forgetting I existed, who'd only remembered when they thought there was money involved. And now they had nothing. Not even me. That was 6 months ago. I live now in a beautiful independent living community. I have friends, activities, purpose. I'm happier than I've been in a decade. The trust pays for everything, and when I'm gone, it'll help kids who actually need it. My children tried to sue me. The case was dismissed immediately. Everything I did was legal. Marcus hired a private investigator to prove I was incompetent. The investigation proved the opposite. Diane sent one email 3 months ago, said I'd ruined their lives, destroyed their inheritance, stolen their future. I didn't respond. I heard through Richard that they're fighting among themselves now, blaming each other for pushing too hard, for getting too greedy, for losing everything. Marcus and Diane aren't speaking. Trevor's startup failed, and he's broke. Lisa's marriage is falling apart. The karma they earned is destroying them more efficiently than I ever could. Sometimes late at night, I think about them, about the babies I rocked to sleep, the toddlers I taught to walk, the teenagers I guided through heartbreak. I think about where it all went wrong, about whether I failed them somehow. But then I remember Marcus's face when he brought those papers. Diane blocking my doorway. Trevor's timeline for my death. Lisa's hollow eyes. And I remember the truth. I didn't fail them. They failed themselves. They had a mother who loved them unconditionally, who sacrificed everything, who would have given them the world if they'd just asked with kindness instead of scheming with cruelty. They had love. They chose greed. They had family. They chose money. They had me, and they threw me away. So I made sure that when they finally realized what they'd lost, there was nothing left to get back. Not the house. Not the money. Not even their mother's forgiveness. The Martinez family sends me photos sometimes of their kids playing in the backyard I used to maintain, of holiday dinners in the kitchen where I cooked 40,000 meals, of a home filled with love and laughter and people who appreciate it. That house deserved better than my children, and so did I. I sleep well at night now. No more waiting for calls that never come. No more hoping for visits that get canceled. No more pretending I don't see the greed in their eyes when they look at me. I'm 73 years old. I'm alone, but I'm not lonely anymore. Because I finally understand. It's better to have nothing and own no one than to have everything and be surrounded by people who only love what you can give them. My children taught me that lesson, and I made damn sure they'd never forget it. Silence hides stories the world needs to hear. Help us share them, like, subscribe, and stay with the silent parents.